Good morning, students. I, Ashutosh Kumar Yadav, Senior Assistant Professor, School of Pharmacy, BBD University. Today, I will take the lecture on the human anatomy and physiology. This will be your first class for the B Pharm first year in the subject human anatomy and physiology. Today, we will discuss about the anatomy and physiology. What is anatomy? What is physiology? What are the different sub branches of anatomy and physiology? Apart from that, we'll also discuss how this anatomy and physiology is related with each other. Anatomy, it's a Greek word made up of two words, that is ana and tomy. Ana means apart and tomy means cut. By the definition, we can say it is the study of structure of body parts and their relationship to each other. In this anatomy, we are studying how our different body parts are looking, where it is situated, how they are interrelated with each other. And physiology. Physiology is a study of function of body parts. Whatever the body parts we have studied in the anatomy, what is the function, how they are doing their function, and their relationship with each other. Again, it is made up of two words, that is the physio means nature and logi means study. Physio means nature. It means we are going to study the nature of that particular body part in our system. Now, we'll discuss the subdisciplines of anatomy. Anatomy, as you have studied in the last slide, that is the study of different body parts and their relationship, their structure. So, in this anatomy, specifically we are studying the size, shape, composition and even coloration and their relationship with each other. Various sub branches, few important we will discuss today. First one, applied anatomy. Applied anatomy, it is the application of the knowledge of anatomy for the diagnosis purpose. It means based on the size, shape, composition and structure of that particular body part, physicians are diagnosing the disease. How come? They are comparing the normal anatomy with the disease anatomy. It means if a person is having a particular disease, at that time, is there any change in the size, shape and composition of that particular body part or not? And that is known as applied anatomy. Second one, descriptive anatomy. In this descriptive anatomy, we are studying the individual body part and its description. And again, in description, the same thing, we are going to study that size, shape, composition and their structure. Next one is the developmental anatomy. This developmental anatomy, by the word itself, we can study that development of our body. It is directly related to the embryology, means how come one individual forms from the embryo. What are the structural changes from the beginning of embryo, and how come this embryo will become a human body or part. Gross anatomy. Gross anatomy is the study of structure of any individual body parts by the naked eyes, how it looks like. That is known as gross anatomy. Now I'll discuss the subdisciplines of physiology. In the last slide, we have studied what is physiology. We have studied that it is made up of two parts, physio and logy. Physio means nature, nature of that particular organ, how it working. If we define it, we can define that physiology is concerned with normal function of the living organism and its components, including the physical and chemical processes involved. It means in physiology, we are studying the normal function of that particular body part in the living organism and its components, how it's giving its function. If the heart is pumping, then how come heart pumps? If lungs is transferring the gases, it is responsible for the exchange of gases, and how come it providing the exchange of gases? Various sub-branches or subdisciplines of physiology are the neurophysiology. In this neurophysiology, we are studying the neurons. It means we are studying the related parts of the brain. How come the neuron transferring the messages from one place to the another place? Next is the endocrinology. In this endocrinology, we are studying the glandular system, various glands of the human body, what they are secreting. They are secreting hormones. Then what is the hormones? It means in endocrinology, we are studying the glands and their secretion as well as the functions of those hormones on the human body. Next one is the immunology. In immunology, we are studying the immunity, or we can say it is the defense mechanism of our system. We are studying all about the defense mechanism. Whenever the bacteria, viruses, fungus are attacking in our system, how come system fights with those microorganisms? That is all about the immunology. Next one is the respiratory physiology. By the name itself, it is very clear that in this respiratory physiology, we are studying about the respiration. It means our lungs are responsible, and we are going to study about the lungs. In cardiovascular physiology, we will study the cardiac system with the relation with vascular system. It means heart as well as the vessels which are attached with the heart, responsible for the transfer of blood from the heart to the organs and from the organs to the heart. That is the cardiovascular physiology. Next one is the renal physiology. In renal physiology, we are studying about the excretion process. In that excretion process, how come kidney works? How come kidney excrete the waste material? How come it is filtering the blood? this is all about the renal physiology. We have studied the anatomy and physiology definition, their subparts, their subdivisions. Is there any relationship between the anatomy and physiology? Yes. There is a strong relation between the anatomy and physiology. The structure of any organ determines its function. For the simplification, we can take one example: lungs and heart. Lungs are not muscular chambers like heart and cannot pump the blood because the wall of lungs are very thin, and due to the thin wall of lungs they can exchange the gases and provide oxygen to the body. It means the structure of that particular organ determines what function it will perform. We have taken the example of lungs and heart. Heart is a muscular chamber. It's having strong muscles, 4 chambers. They can pump the blood because it's having the SA node. And in lungs, it is not having so much powerful muscles. It's having very thin wall. But due to thin wall only, they can transfer the oxygen to our body. It means the structure of that particular organ determines its function. So we can say there is a strong relationship between the anatomy and physiology. Both the things we cannot study separately. We have to study anatomy as well as physiology together. Now we'll study the level of structural organization. A human body, it's look like what are the levels of that human body? How come the human body forms? For not the human body, for all the living organisms, there are some cellular level. There are some levels of structural organization that we'll study. The first level of any organism, living organism, is the chemical level. It is the simplest level of structural ladder. At this level, atom combines to form molecule such as water, sugar and protein. Next one, cellular level. Cellular level is the smallest unit of living things. For all the living things, cell is the smallest unit, and this cell is made up of that particular chemicals. That was the previous step of cellular level. And when the similar cells of similar function combines together and form a structure, and that structure is known as tissue, and that level is known as tissue level. We can define the tissue: group of similar cells that have a common function. Then that group of cell will known as tissue, and that level is tissue level. Next one, fourth level, is the organ level. What is organ? When more number of tissues with similar function comes together, performs a function, a similar function, that is a organ. An organ is a structure composed of two or more tissue types that performs a specific function, like heart, lungs, kidney, ureter. These are the organs. They are performing a specific function. Like lungs, these are responsible for the exchange of gases as well as expiration, inspiration. Kidney, it is responsible for the filtration of blood, responsible for the excretion of waste material from the body. These organs are made up of various types of cell. Next level, the fifth level, is the organ system. Organ system means one or more organs will become an organ system. That is the group of organs that work together to accomplish a common purpose. Each organ has its own job to do, like cardiovascular system. In this cardiovascular system, heart is there, vessels are also there. It means so many organs, when performs a common purpose, that system or that level is known as organ system. Next one is the organism level. It represents the highest level of structural organization. It means we can say it's an organism. Organism, just human or any other animals or any other living creature. In organism level, there are 11 organ systems that will study the next slides. This is a pictorial presentation of level of structural organization. If we will start the chemical level, this is the first level. Second one is the cellular level. Then similar type of cells combined together, it will form the tissue, and that tissue is having a specific function, and with the help of tissues, one or more tissues, there is an organ, and with the various organs like intestine, heart, muscles, bones, kidney, ureters, uterus, with the help of these organs, there is a formation of system level. And after the system level, composite of this system level is an organism, a living organism. Now, what are the basic life processes? Why we are saying basic life processes? Because these processes are required for the maintenance of life. For a living creature, these 6 basic life processes must be there. If anyone is not there, that we cannot say it's a living person or it's a living creature working properly or maintaining its life properly. What are those 6 basic life processes? One is the metabolism, second one responsiveness, movement, growth, differentiation, and finally reproduction. One by one we'll see their definition and their importance. But one thing keep in the mind, if a living creature is there maintaining its life, that must have these 6 basic life processes. First one is the metabolism. It includes all the chemical reactions that occurs within body cell. It includes breaking down substances into their simpler building blocks. That is known as catabolism. Then synthesizing more complex cellular structure from simpler substances, that is anabolism. In a nutshell, we can say breaking down or making something new is metabolism, and that should be go inside the cell. If it is going inside the cell, that process, that chemical process is known as metabolism. Or we can say metabolism is two things, catabolism and anabolism. Breaking of any complex material into its simpler form is the catabolism, and making something new with the help of small structures, that is the anabolism. Like protein synthesis, if we are synthesizing the protein to build our body, that is the anabolism. If you are breaking the carbohydrate, protein, fats to excrete from our system, that is catabolism. And in the catabolism and anabolism, there is something required. What is that? That is the energy and some nutrients. So this metabolism process using nutrients and oxygen to produce either simpler substances or to produce some complex substances. Next one is the responsiveness or irritability. It is the ability to sense changes in the environment and then respond to them. Like if you touch a hot plate, immediately you will remove your hand. If one prick is there in your foot, immediately your foot will withdraw. A light flows on your eyes, immediately your eyes will be closed. How come it happens? That is, you are feeling those irritations, you are feeling those changes, and you can sense those changes, and sensing those changes is the body's ability, and to respond them, that is the responsiveness. As I have given the example that you involuntarily pull your hand away from the painful stimulus. Apart from these things, something going on inside your body, like when carbon dioxide in your blood rises to dangerously high level, your breathing rate speeds up. This is the basic life processes. If it doesn't happen, you will get die. It means if you are a living person, there must be responsiveness or irritability. Next one is the movement. By the name itself, you can say movement means you can move. It includes the activities promoted by the muscular system. The skeletal system provides the bony framework that the muscles pull on as they work. Movement also occurs when substances such as blood, foodstuff and urine are propelled through internal organs. When we are taking the food, it will go to the stomach via our mouth, then in the intestine where it will get metabolized, and then all the nutrients will be absorbed. That is the movement process. Movement of blood, movement of food, movement of urine. On the cellular level, the muscle cells' ability to move by shortening is more precisely called contractility. On the cellular level, the same thing can be said that it is a contraction process, contractility. Next one is the growth. It's a simple term. It is the increase in the size of a body or part of the organism. If growth is not there, we cannot grow up from the child to an adulthood. It means organs are growing in the size and shape. Then only an individual can be grown up. It is usually accomplished by increasing the number of cells. Individual cells also increases in the size when not dividing. If that cell is not dividing, it will increase in the size. For true growth to occur, constructive activities must occur at a faster rate than the destructive one. Next life process is the differentiation. Development of a cell from an unspecialized to a specialized state is a differentiation. Like, if we will take the example of fertilized egg, it will becomes embryo, then fetus, then infant, then child, and then adult. If you will go on the first level of organization, that is the cellular level. Every cell looks similar. They are having the Golgi body, they are having the ribosome, they are having the nucleus. Each and everything is similar. But after some time, there is some differentiation between them. When it will go to the tissue level, after tissue level it will go to the organ level, then organ system level. But the cell was same. After some time, their functions becomes different, and that process, specialization of cell function, is the differentiation. It means unspecialized to the specialized state. As I told, every cell is similar. structure wise and their organelles wise. Every cell is having the same thing, but after some time it will get a specialized work, and that process of unspecialized to the specialized one is the differentiation process. Next one is the reproduction. It is the last one, but this is required to make an offspring. Making a whole new person, which is the major task of the reproductive system. It is the formation of new cell from tissue growth, repair or replacement, or to production of new individual. When a sperm unites with an egg, a fertilized egg forms, which then develops into a baby within the mother's body. The reproductive system is regulated by the hormone of the endocrine system. This process is known as reproduction. There are 11 systems of the human body. What are those systems? One by one we will discuss, and further in the other classes we will study these systems in detail. First one, integumentary system. Integumentary system is the external covering of the body. Whatever the covering we are having on our body, that is the integumentary system, either skin, hairs and nails. Next one is the skeletal system. It is composed of bones, cartilage, ligament and joints. What is the function of skeletal system? It will provide the support to the body and provides a framework. Next one is the muscular system. Muscles of the body, and muscles of the body having the process contraction and relaxation. Due to the contraction and relaxation process, there is a movement. It helps the skeletal system to move, and that is the muscular system. Next one is the nervous system. It is related to the brain. These are the fast acting control system by the neurotransmitters. Very fast. It consists brain, spinal cord, nerves and sensory receptors. Endocrine system. Endocrine system related to the glands and their secretions. These are slow acting control system by the hormones and consist various glands, and these glands secretes hormones. Hormones are also having some important effects on the human body. Next one is the cardiovascular system. As we've discussed in the previous slides also, cardiovascular means heart as well as the vessels. It carries oxygen, nutrients, hormones and other substances from one place to the another place. This system is composed of heart, blood vessels, capillaries as well as the blood. Next one is the lymphatic system. Lymphatic system cleanses the blood as well as it will involved in the immunity. In the previous slides, we have discussed the immunology. So this system is mainly responsible for the immunology. It consists lymphatic vessels, lymph nodes, spleen and tonsils. Next one is the respiratory system. It is very clear that for the respiration, if one system is responsible, that system is the respiratory system. It keeps blood supply with oxygen and removes carbon dioxide. It's very vital organ system. It consists nasal cavity, pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchi and lungs. Next one is the digestive system. Digestive system breaks food down into the absorbable units that enter the blood. It is composed of oral cavity, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, rectum and anus. Some few organs are there like liver and pancreas. This is subsidiary organs of digestive system. Next one is the urinary system or excretory system. It eliminates nitrogenous waste from the body, that is urea and uric acid. It regulates water, electrolyte and acid base balance of the blood. And this system consists of kidney, ureter, urinary bladder and urethra. Reproductive system. Reproductive system is responsible to produce the offspring. This is the system in which organs of male and females are different. Apart from this system, all the systems are similar for the male and female, but in this reproductive system, the organs are different. In male, the major organs are seminal vesicle, prostate, penis, vas deferens, testis and scrotum. In females, totally different. They are having the ovaries, mammary gland, uterus, vagina and uterine tube. So this is all about the system of the human body. There are 11 important system. In today's class, we have studied about the anatomy. What is anatomy? What is physiology? Their sub-branches, organism level, and if I am saying an organism, then how much systems are there? What are the basic functions that a living organism must have? This is all about the introduction of anatomy and physiology. Thank you class. Thank you very much